Today we're going to talk about TimberGuard Select by American Sanders. This is an acrylic urethane blended water-based finish that is ideal for residential locations. Let's talk about water-based finishes in general and the different formulas that are out there. There are acrylic urethane blends like the TimberGuard Select. There are also full urethane products that are both single component and two component products that use different cross-linkers to go ahead and harden those products. As you go up the food chain of water-based finishes, a two-component product that is cross-linked with isocyanate is going to be the most durable urethane product that's available to you. The single component then would be next in line, full urethane product. And then you get into the acrylic urethane blends, and then below that is, in terms of durability, is the full acrylic product. And so we're talking today about a urethane acrylic blend. The TimberGuard Select is a 70% urethane, 30% acrylic. The benefits to an acrylic urethane blend are the ease of use, very forgiving, easy application product, and also the cost of the product. Urethane acrylic blends are a mid-range product in terms of durability, ideal for low traffic areas or family areas that don't have, say, dogs or pets or young kids. You get into a location like this house specifically, where the kids are grown, almost out of the house, there are no pets, and it's an ideal application to use here. It's also fantastic because of its ease of use for guys that have been using oil their entire careers and they're just thinking about transitioning into water-based finishes. This is a product that's going to be very forgiving as you apply it to the floor. So all water-based finishes need to be shook and mixed appropriately before actually using it and putting it on the floor. This requires about 30 to 45 seconds of vigorous shaking, which we've already done. And then you would let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes before you would actually apply it to the floor. The one thing that you should take notice of is which sheen are you using, because as you get into the flatter sheens, the satins and the mattes, you've got a lot of matting agent that is in this formula, and the matting agent is typically what drops out into the bottom of the gallon. So satin or matte, again, even a semi-gloss, you want to make sure that you really get this mixed up appropriately so that the sheen on the floor is what you're looking for once you apply the product. So American Sanders finishes, they all come heat sealed to try to prevent any of the film formation that occurs when you get oxygen kind of into your product. This also comes with a strainer. So all these water-based finishes, they sometimes will have little clumps on the inside of the finish. The strainer will help prevent that. We're gonna mix our product in a bucket today. And the reason we do that, a lot of folks will go ahead and apply a water-based finish directly to the floor. You can get away with that. We don't recommend it, especially in a situation like this. We've got about 750 square feet that we're going to coat. 1 gallon covers 500 to 600 square feet, so we're going to mix both those gallons into this bucket. But by putting it into a bucket, when I use the roller, I'm now saturating my roller as I apply it to the floor instead of then having a puddle on the floor that I'm trying to work around and get it spread evenly. We have the strainer in the bottle. We also are going to then use a secondary paint strainer to make sure that we don't get any contaminants into our bucket. So you can apply water-based finish with a T-bar or a roller, and today we're actually going to use a roller on this job site. We always recommend a microfiber roller. You're going to get the best results that way. We use the Whiz Microlon roller, which has been a high-performance roller for us that has given really good results. One thing you want to make sure you always do with a roller is that you pre-wet them. And you want it damp, you don't want it wet, you don't want it soaked, you certainly don't want it dripping water. But if you do that, if you apply water to it, you're going to remove the air that's trapped inside these fibers, and that's going to keep the air bubbles from getting into your finish. So when you're ready to go ahead and get the finish onto the roller, you're going to dip that roller into the bucket and completely submerge it. And what you're trying to do is make sure there's no air inside the roller with where the finish is. And so I'm going to dip it in there, I'm going to roll it as I come back up and down the bucket, make sure I don't get any air bubbles. I'm getting a few air bubbles. So I'm going to dip that again, make sure I get all those air bubbles worked out of there because we don't want to transfer that to the floor.
For the application, use a cut-in pad or a high-end nylon brush to cut in the wall lines. On your starting wall, cut in the length of the wall and then about 3 to 4 feet along the adjacent walls. Don't cut in more than that as you don't want those cut-in sections to dry before you get there with the roller. When applying with the roller, run with the grain the entire length of the room in one pass, overlapping the previous pass as you work across the floor. For questions about TimberGuard or any other American Sanders products, contact us at americansanders.com.